is thank you, right? We need referees. We have been fortunate and blessed that we had really excellent coverage in the fall. 97% of our games had full referee squads on them, which is awesome. That's way better than a lot of Cubs. We want to do 100% this next year. So that's why we're doing things like this, make it even better for you. But thank you for coming out here, getting trained, and getting further trained. We really appreciate it. Next up is the question Rudy asks all the time. I'm asking you now, why do you want to do this? What is your why? Anything you do in life, figure out what it is you want to do it. Maybe some of you are like, I want the money, right? Some of you are like, you know what? I just want to be closer to the game because I haven't played or I'm not playing anymore and I still want to be close to the game. Some of you are like, I want to learn the game better by seeing the sides from the referee side, right? There's many reasons why you're why. When I started years ago, I was no longer playing soccer in high school, and I started refereeing so I could still stay close to the game. Then when I got out of college, I refereed to pay for graduate school and for my wedding and for my honeymoon. So I refereed 7 days a week for a couple of years outside after college to make money so that I could pay for what I wanted to do in life. It was extra funds. I referee now because my kids got back into it, so I got back into it after being away from it and being like, I'm good for a while. I started coaching and doing other stuff. So that's my why. But think about why do you want to do this? Because if you know why you want to do it, the more likely you're going to do a good job. And the number one way to do a good job in life is to want to do a good job, right? So that's the way you want to do it, okay? Next up, why do we have referees? Yell at me, you can yell at me, it's totally interactive. Why do we have referees at the games? Safety. She knows, she already saw some of this.
Fairness.
So safety is a huge reason we have referees. Why else?
Fairness.
Fairness, and why do we have fairness? Why do referees call fairness? What does that do? For, what is it? It makes the game fun, right? When you feel like it's fair and it's a safe environment, it's more fun. But what else? Anything other reason we might have referees? Any ideas? So one of the other reasons we have referees out there is because you guys in a recreational environment can help kind of coach and help the player on the field. So that's part of what today's about, is how do you kind of help the player sometimes doesn't know what's going on, or they don't know where the ball goes, where to position it, you can help them. Make sense? All right, our goals for you, from the club to you, and why we're doing things like this, we want you to develop as a person. We want you to grow in confidence, grow in understanding, grow in knowledge, right? Grow as a person. We want you to obviously get better at refereeing, because the better you are at refereeing, that'll help you grow as a person, and it helps the club. And we want you to improve our game day experience for all everybody, the players, the parents, you know, the other referees, the administrators at the club. The better you guys do, the better off it is and easier for us to go out there and we get to shake hands and say how you doing to the parents and just be schmoozing instead of having to deal with issues. Come on, Cora. No worries. All right, so tonight things, what we're going to cover in a breakdown what we're covering now. We're going to do administrative information first, a quick equipment review, rules overview, what your game day looks like at Noblesville United, what you're going to do after your game at Noblesville United, and then we're going to do tips and tricks just from on the thread, use different things to help you as you get out there on the field. Sound good? Okay, let's start here, and I start on the screen. So administratively, I want you to know that you need to have certain certifications to referee and what you need it for. So if you have an Indiana soccer small-sided certification, can you raise your hand for me? So the majority of you in here have that, right? So you've done roughly somewhere between 6 to 10 hours worth of work, and that may be generous, right? You maybe did the 4 videos, answered 25 questions, and went to a 3-hour training. You may be at 3.5 hours worth of experience right now, plus another hour and a half right now, okay? So if you are a grassroots USSF certified referee, so I know Andrew is, so I'm that, you're getting that, Ellie's getting that, Cora's that, so we've got a couple of us that are this. We've had more like 30 to 40 hours worth of training, all right? So there's a reason why, I see you shaking your head. It's a progression, don't have to do it immediately. Like, you know, you can work your way up and see if you like it first before you go do the bigger thing, right? Work your way up. But there's a lot more training that goes into being that black badge certified referee versus what we consider white badge or small-sided referee, okay? For you guys, we do a reimbursement program, just want to hit on it real quick for those new referees. If you took the class from us this season, and we had one last week, we have one this week, and we have a black badge class in 2 weeks, I think. So I think every weekend for the next 3 weekends, we got referee training. If you're a small-sided referee in Indiana, which most of you are, If you can do 6 games at either center or assistant referee, we'll reimburse you a $30 cost you have. So you'll get a bonus $30, okay? If you're a black badge, so I know Ellie's doing that, I know Rudy's doing that, but he probably won't take it. If you do 4 games at center at 11v11, we will reimburse you. We don't need more small-sided referees doing AR jobs. We do need more center referees doing 11v11 games. So the reimbursement comes from doing center. Got that, Cora? Center. You got that, Ellie? So that's how that's gonna work. We will track that for you, so don't worry about it. You don't have to turn in paperwork. We'll know. We know. You turn in your sheets, we'll track it. And we'll get that money to you. Okay? Jump in if you have want to yell anything, okay?
You'll probably, knowing you, you're so thorough, you'll probably hit on this, but I will say, since you just mentioned we're tracking, our club, thank you to Chris Garlinger back there, we do sign up for games a little differently than a lot of other clubs.
I'm going to cover
hit
it.
on that? Okay.
I'm going to cover this. Save it. I'm going to cover it. So the next thing I want you to see is just for refereeing. We start refereeing at U10 at our club, not before. Some clubs do U8. We don't. We do U10. So the 7v7, there will be only 1 center referee. So there's only 1 referee for those games. That referee can be small-sided or USSFF, or the black badge. U12, we do 3. Everyone on that field can be small-sided and do the game. At U14 and above, 11v11, the center has to be USSF certified, but the sides can be ARs. The ARs can be small-sided. At U16, same thing, and the adult league will take small-sided or USSF because we don't play full rules, okay? With that said, generally speaking, it's a good rule to don't rep your same age group. Rep an age group above. Now, I will say that many of you guys play U14 soccer in here. If you're an AR at U14, that's okay, okay? But generally speaking, you always try to go 1 level above where you currently are in your age group. Make sense? That's not a hard and fast rule, okay? General rule. Don't feel like you gotta, just a general idea. All right, next up, pay, right? This is why you're here? In front of you, this is your why. So we do pay $25 for centers at U10. We play U12s, we pay 30 for center, 25s for AR. U14s is 40 for center, 30 for AR. U16 is 45 center, 35 AR. And then adult, I think we just upped it to 50 for this season at the center, okay? You will not, Andrew's done adult games, I've done adult games, you've done adult games. Probably nobody else in here will do adult games because we don't really want anyone below a college level doing adult games, right? Because they can get a little more chippy at times, right? So, but that's the pay. And then post your game, you can head to our concession stand, we get a free snack. I think it is a drink and a snack, or is it just one or the other?
No, it's both.
Both, a drink and a snack. Don't take advantage of it. Okay, a drink and a snack, okay? Don't go crazy every game and get a drink and 2 snacks, okay?
Yeah, and I'll say this, I'm trying to make it my personal mission. You guys will have access to the boardroom because in the hot days, we'll have air conditioning on there. But we're gonna try to make it cozy, get a TV mounted in there. Just something for you guys to really be able to kick back and enjoy your time, especially you, Andrew, because you could spend several hours there in a day, right?
So, administratively, let's talk about this. Payment-wise, we would like to pay you using something called Arbiter Pay. So in years past, we've done checks. There's some problems when you're younger that we can't necessarily send you checks directly because of laws. So we would so it means just come to the fields and get your checks. We got to cut a check. It takes a while. We would rather use Arbiter Pay. So we're going to ask you, post this meeting, you will get this PowerPoint, and there's a link in here. We'll make sure we'll pull it out. We need you to sign up through Arbiter Pay. It's free to get your money if you select it a certain way. If you don't select a certain way, they're going to make you charge fees to you, but you can't get your money for free. You will need to have a bank account, or your parents need a bank account they transfer you the money from. We will need to know your username in Arbiter Pay and your ID number, and that link is to, that's a link that'll help us do, that's a Google form I created for us to collect information about it so we can get you paid. And then the final one, to receive payment, if you're under age of 13 and you don't want fees, I made a video. So if you're under the age of 13, you got to do something kind of different. And if you don't want to pay fees, you can watch that video. It's a combined video, but it covers that for anybody who wants to know how to do that. I have not updated that since April, so hopefully their system hasn't changed. I'm not in charge of their system. I don't go in there all the time to look at it. But hopefully that video is still valid for you. So that's how you'll get paid. We'll send this email and links to you so you have it. And then that money will get usually paid to you earlier in the week, sometimes a little later, but the money will just show up and then you can transfer it into your account. So I know we used it. Did you use it last year, Cora? Nope, okay. Did anybody else use it? Did you use it, Andrew?
I did.
And it was pretty simple?
Arbiter Pay?
Yeah.
Arbiter Pay is pretty simple, yeah. Once you get signed up, it's real easy to move money and stuff.
The other nice thing is that many of the clubs in our facility around our area use Arbiter Pay, so if you do choose to referee, not just at Noblesville United, but other places, you can still get your payment the same way without any special process. Okay. So real quick, just kind of showing you on the screen, this is the Google form. You'll see even on the Google form, I'm gonna ask you some information about yourself, but it also shows you how to get your account number, where it's located. Since that's my actual account number and stuff, I didn't list it. Unless you guys want to pay me money, you can, okay? But you can see it's like that. But it'll look something like that, and that'll be your account ID number we need. Next up is signing up for games. So we use Sign Up Genius, probably heard it, for school, snacks, whatever. Once we have our game schedule, we'll have by March, our season doesn't start till mid-April.
April 10th season.
So
starts.
the schedule will come before that. We don't know exactly when.
The goal is to have the schedule done by spring break, because since we had the downtime with Sport, I extended registration deadline to March 15th. So my goal is to have the schedule done before everybody goes on spring break.
Yep. So if the schedule's there, we will populate a sign-up sheet, and you can go in and sign up for your games for the entire season. Word of warning, we sometimes have to cancel and move games, whether team doesn't have enough players, conflict, whatever. So just because you sign up doesn't guarantee you a game, but it tells you that most likely you're going to get it. We didn't do a lot of moving, but we had really nice weather in the fall. Spring's a little more iffy. So just be warned that your game on Saturday might get moved to Sunday and now you can't do it. That's just part of life. But we are trying to get you so you can go through it ahead of time. Initially, I put 2 games here. If you're a new referee, I would like you not to sign up for more than 2 games in a day. And the reason for that is we want to get as many new referees into the pool as we can. Plus, we want to get you experience and some chance to get evaluated, see how you're doing before we just start dumping it on. Now, if you're a more experienced referee, Corey's done a lot of refereeing, Andrew's done a lot of refereeing, Ellie did a lot. And I know somebody did too. Camille over there, Anna was doing it. You can do more because we know you count on it, but what we don't want to do is monopolize all of our time slots so that people can't get into our pool, right? We want to give them a chance to. As we get closer to the game week, we'll then reach out and say, hey, we still have open slots. If we've only done 2 and we still have some times open, then we'll reach out and say, hey, there's open slots. We may go to certain people and ask for you to fill them, or we may just open and say, whoever signed up, go for a 3rd or 4th and just do it, okay? But we just want to get sure. We will probably certify 50 people this season. We certified 100 people.
125 last year.
125 in the fall. So we have a big pool of referees. That's why we do want to try to limit it. But I know that I want to get out of refereeing so many games, and so does Rudy. And so if we get out of refereeing a whole bunch of games, then we can mentor. It'll create more opportunities for you guys as well that we don't have to fill in as much.
I will add this too. Like a lot of you guys, especially those that just took the class this weekend, are you going to want to go out right away and do your own match by yourself? No, right? So we'll have options for you guys that are brand new to shadow a center, to shadow assistant referees. We'll still pay you as if you were doing the match all by yourself, but we want to get you some real game experience before I say, hey, Malia, you're centering this U10 match, okay? And by the way, you're all by yourself because it's 77, it's just the center. So we'll get you guys some experience out there first, so you're not by yourself. You can ask questions to the referee you're shadowing. You can ask Andrew or Eric or I questions you may have about situations that came up.
So just real quick, I was going to show you what the sign-up sheet looks like. So this is the sign-up sheet where you see the game was on Field 20 is at 10 a.m. on October 8th. I centered it. My daughter was one of the ARs. We had an open time slot that needed to be filled in still. So you'll just click on sign up, put your name, your email address in, and you'll be good to go. Sign-up teams will send you an email out 2 or 3 days in advance of the game to remind you to have a game that week and what times they are. If for some reason you need to cancel, you can go into that system and you can go also cancel it, and then you can email us and we can remove it as well. Okay? So just kind of real quick thing, as you go to sign up field-wise, we'll probably try to put more information maybe in the sign-up genius. It's a little easier for you to understand what you're signing up for. But fields 1 through 4 are U12 and 9v9 games. Fields 5 through 8 are U10, and those are 77. It's only one referee, but it'll be clear there's only one referee, there's only one sign-up sheet. And then fields 18 through 20 are U14 plus. Okay? So we'll make that clear as well so that you know that you're signing up for, you're not signing up for something and you're like, ooh, all of a sudden I'm doing a high school game and I don't know what's going on right now. Okay? Yeah, if you need to cancel, go to Sign Up Genius. You can remove yourself. You can just kind of go in there and you can go through a process and undo it. You can email us and let us know, and just let us know as soon as you know, right? If you get sick, game day, it's fine. We're there to help. Otherwise, let us know as soon as you know you're not going to be able to make it. Communicate, 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 okay? Referee mentor. This is a new thing we're trying to run, and we'll just kind of say it. Is it okay to say this? Mm-hmm. So we're looking at having Andrew fill this role, but we're not official yet. He couldn't come to our meeting last week, so he couldn't get the conversation going as much as we like. But what we're trying to do is hire a referee mentor assigner. Person responsible for making sure the games get assigned, making sure that you're there, that you're ready to go. We're hoping that this person will go in and help ensure, like, track that you need to get paid. He can't pay you, but he can tell us to pay you, we'll pay you. He'd be available on game days to support you. And what I also would like possibly for him to do is to go around and watch 20 minutes of a game and evaluate. Have evaluation. Here's what you're great, here's what you can improve, so you know what you're doing, you get feedback, and then he make a point. He can't do everybody every single day, but he can get through and make sure he hits everybody every couple of weeks, so that we can talk about what's going well and what can be improved out there. Sound good? So that would be that position. It's not yet officially done. We got to get Andrew. We've got stuff typed up. We've got to agree to salary and everything else, but it's something we're trying to work on. Equipment. So when you show up on game day, you must have your badge, okay? So I don't like going to fields and seeing referees wearing shirts with no badge. I don't know if you're certified. I don't know if you're ready to be there, right? We're paying you to referee, and this is the reason why you got to do whatever we tell you. So we're going to tell you to tuck your shirt on, tuck your shirt in, wear the proper socks, wear the proper shorts, wear your shirt, wear a badge. We're paying you. We want you to look professional. Part of growing your confidence and your development as a human being is to know how to dress for appropriate situations. If I showed up to work and I was wearing, whatever, inappropriate clothing, I'd be in trouble. Don't show up here wearing inappropriate clothing, right? You're not going to be in trouble, but we do want you to get it. We do have backup stuff, so if there's a problem, you can't find your shirt that day, it's filthy, dirty, we do have backup clothes, we can help you out, but please come look professional. With that said, some of you, small society, probably told you didn't have Velcro for you. Hopefully we'll get the Velcro in for the back of your badges. If not, we can work a couple weeks without Velcro, and we'll understand if there's a problem with the Velcro.
We can pin them on.
Yeah. Usually either a yellow shirt or a green shirt is worn. Has everyone ordered their uniforms yet? Okay.
Have you guys gotten the link from Indiana Soccer yet?
Did he talk about it in Indiana Soccer? Okay. So Indiana Soccer does have a discounted rate for your shirts and your equipment. And you will get a shirt. It depends what you get. If you do the 2-pack, you'll get 2. Get yellow and green. Okay? If you're only going to get 1, get yellow. If you're going to get 2, get yellow and green. Yeah. No. This is for new reference. You're good, Lou. Next is, you'll get a pair of shorts, right, with a logo, and then you will get socks. Usually that's what's your equipment package. And then you may get not these flags, but flags you'll get some flags, right? These are a little nicer. So those are what you will get, and they may send you a whistle, but I think they probably gave you a whistle, so you have a whistle, but you have a backup. So those are the equipment. We say bring your equipment is what we mean. Tuck in your shirt. Make sure you have a watch that can either count up or count down, right? Because you got to start the game. It used to be watches were crazy expensive. I bought this watch. I can set this I can do stoppage time on this watch. I can do all kinds of great stuff. It was $22 on Amazon. So it's not like you got to spend an arm and a leg to get a really nice functional watch, but make sure you have a watch with a stopwatch, all right? Next up, you'll have your scorebook and your papers. Those usually come in your kit. So something like, you have your badges, you'll have your scorebook, right? You'll have your papers. I don't have papers in there. I have them somewhere else right now, but they're in here somewhere. Wrong pocket, they're over this pocket. So you'll have your badges and your score sheets. Make sure you're keeping track of the score, your times. There are different score sheets. I have British ones because we're way cheaper and I kind of like them. So like mine has the word color spelled with a U, whatever, right? If you run out of paper, do order more and get it for yourself, but we do have some backups that we can give to you for a game day situation if you're out of it. Next up is make sure you have a coin, make sure you have a whistle, all right? Your whistle doesn't need to be crazy loud, but make sure you bring it. There's nice whistles that are crazy loud. I got a digital whistle. I'm not sure I'll use it or not, but it was given to me. So I got one of those now for a gift. And then bring your flags.
Can
Yeah.
I add something to that?
Yeah.
If you are doing full-sided games and you want the nicest whistle, just because I have worked with a lot of reps who do college and high school and stuff, they're called Fox 40s. They're about $5 on Amazon. And the one he has is pretty nice.
This is a Fox 40.
Yep, he has got one right there. And it's just a different type of whistle. It is really loud if you blow it loud. But at the same time, it makes it easy because then you can pitch it, which is kind of hard to explain without blowing it. But you can do different pitches, and you also don't have to like blow hard when you make a certain call. And that is important because if you're making a hard foul, you do want to blow your whistle pretty loud.
So this doesn't have a beat in it, right? So it's easier to blow. I can barely blow it, and I can still get a whistle sound out. I don't need to shake the beat.
George gave out Fox 40s.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
So some of you guys got them. That's awesome.
Walmart also sells them for like $7-8.
Additional equipment you might want to bring real quick. You might want to, I think it's my next slide. You might want to bring a hat. Any hat will do. But our fields, if you're an AR running fields 1 through 4, which is our 99 fields, there's a chance if you have an early morning game, the sun's going to be in your eyes, or a late afternoon game. If you are at our 11v11 fields, fields 18 through 20, and you're an AR, you're either gonna get early morning sun or late sun. It's not as bad in the afternoon, but it's way worse in the morning. So, and then if you're a referee centering those games, you absolutely will have the sun in your eyes. So I wear my hat, I keep it low. I always wear a hat, honestly. It's only because it's winter I'm not wearing a hat. If you see me another time in life, I have a hat on. But keep my hat low and I can run the game and see what's going on. So I definitely carry a hat. You might want to bring a plastic bag to put your bag in case it's raining. Got it? So I just bring a trash bag in case it's raining. I can throw everything into it so it's not getting soaked in the rain. Because we will play on the rain as long as fields are open and there isn't lightning. And the last thing you may want to bring, or 2 more things here, you may want to bring cones. I like cones for this reason. Sometimes there's missing field markings. We're really good about it. Our things are robot painted, so that's not a problem at our fields, but it could be the other fields. And you may need to mark a build out line. And I also like sometimes I've got a coach who's running on my line and I'm an assistant referee. I'll be like, hey coach, can you stand behind my cones? And so I can run down the AR line without running to the dang coach constantly standing on the sideline. So I'll make my own coaching box with my cones and tell them to stay in it. So if you got cones, bring them. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. I will take their soccer balls and also make a zone for them if I need to. Because I don't want to run over the coach all game. The final thing I've mentioned is if you have access to it, then you may not. Things that luckily do better, actually I don't have with me, pennies. I like to bring 2 pennies because you just never know if a goalkeeper a coach doesn't have the pennies for them. And something I was thinking, maybe we can make a kit for each field, 2 pennies, a little first aid kit, get it out. I was thinking about this today. So anyway, we may make you take a little kit with you from the concession stand out to the field with you. So that's the equipment. All right. On the equipment side, real quick. At least the flags my kids got, there was little metal clips on them. So I have metal clips here. They're kind of sharp, and I know my daughter Anna cut the snot out of her legs just by using it. So we taped them. So you may want to get some tape and put it on the metal on your flag just so you don't cut your legs. Okay? Unless you want bloody legs. Well, you guys are doing good. All right. So this is we have backup. This is what we have in our boardroom. We have backup equipment for you in case you don't have it. We prefer you to bring it, but if you need it, we got it. So we have a couple things. We also have rule guides. If you're not sure, we have a real nice printed 1-sheeter of the basic rules and the signals for you. Give you a refresher. We also have what are called first-year referee armbands. They're pink, and if it makes you feel more comfortable, you can wear them. It does show you that you're a first-year referee, which we don't always love because then people maybe get targeted. But we don't think you'll be targeted. That's why we're doing this. But the issue with them is they're so big on your arm that they're really hard to keep in place. So I think we started using them last year, but by the end of the season, I think everyone was just like, I'm done with it because it's always constantly falling down. But if you would like one, we do have one. Okay, that does tell people you're a first-year referee. We'll get into this a little later, but we do have a zero tolerance policy. So there is no difference between if you're a first year or you've been refereeing for 25 years, there's zero tolerance. If a parent or a coach or a player starts to abuse you, they're gone. You got me? So it doesn't really matter if you were the first year or not because we're not tolerating at any level. Got it? And so with that said, you can see here, because this is what we're about, right? And what you see down there is respect, service, leadership, integrity, community. We demand people treat other people with respect. Doesn't mean you don't have to agree on everything, but we can still be respectful in that space. Got me? And we'll talk about that a little bit later on. We talk about how to deal with a coach who might be out of hand or whatever. But that's the key on that. All right, so just so you're aware, there are two different rule bodies that we have to worry about. One is the International Football Association Board if FIFA lost the game. And if you're a black badge USF certified referee, you have to worry about all 17, 18 laws? Look, honestly, I should know.
Don't ask me.
Yeah, I should know. I think it's 18 laws, 19 laws? If you are with Noblesville United, you need to worry about Noblesville United rules. Okay? So we're going to talk about not a whole lot about the international rules. I want you to know there's a reason why you play soccer around the world. It all looks like the same game because there's a rule body that sees those rules. We're worried about what we want at Noblesville United, and that's what this training is about today. Got it? So we're transitioning into the rules. Any conversation, questions about the administration and the equipment? You guys good on that? You're good? Thank you. I got a thumbs up over here.
One really quick thing, guys. If you have a game the next day and you lost your jersey, your whistle, your watch, go to Soccer Village in Carmel. They have everything here at retail price, everything you need to ref. So
Okay.
again, if you do lose something and you can't order it, you can go to Soccer Village in Carmel.
So I do suggest getting the two jerseys, and one reason is because I sweat in this one on Saturday and I sweat on this one on Sunday.
It's true.
I don't want to wash my clothes in between, right? I mean, that's really why I have two jerseys. But I definitely, our teams don't wear yellow or green most of the time, so there's no conflict in color. Our teams are wearing red, sometimes an orange team, blue, black,
Black, white, and gold.
gold. So we don't see a lot of conflict with those colors, so they're usually same colors. All right, so let's go through this. So, refereeing. When you're 7v7, there's modifications to the rules that occur across the board. And these are the modifications. So the field is smaller, right? The goals are smaller. The ball is smaller. The number of players is less. Offsides is it's modified. Substitution rules, so our substitution rules are across the board. A player can sub at any time that you allow them to. We encourage you to let them sub at any point in the game where there's a dead ball. Free kick, goal kick, injury, corner kick, let them sub. Because it's wrestling and they want to play. Let someone on the field let them play. Yeah, it's fine. Our referees need less certifications to do this. The time is shorter. We play 2 25-minute halves. Our free kicks are a little bit modified when it comes to distances because our goal boxes are smaller. So like penalty kicks are shorter, essentially. Which that's the next one, penalty kicks. Start and restarts, we use most of the same start and restarts. We don't allow punting from the goalkeeper. Free kicks, long throw-ins, are same shin guards, and there's no heading. Okay? So we'll go to the next one, we'll go all of them. But each level, there are different rules, right? So at 99, see how there's less different modifications happening now, right? And then once we get to 11v11, you can see that we're paying full standard rules at this point. Our one different rule we play is we do allow substitution basically all the time. And that's the one different rule that we do play compared to standard rules. These are Noblesville United rule matrix of what we have. So you can kind of skip the first two columns, and then you go into U10 here, and then U11, U12, and you'll see that like the goalie rule, the goalie can throw, roll, pass, but there's no punting. There's a modified rules, right? And so you get a sense of what these rules are, where the penalty marker should be at 8 yards, for example, down here. The other one is something called the build outline. We're going to talk about extensively tonight, so I want you to understand how to do the build outline. But that's the other big modified rule for the 77 game. All right, any questions on those basic rules? You need to know these basic rules, right? Because when you go out there, it's your job to be like, this half is 25 minutes, the time it's 25 minutes, right? So know it's 25 minutes. Most of your score sheets will tell you that as well.
I got a question.
Yeah.
What are we doing for a slide tackle?
So technically speaking, slide tackles are not against the rules. Great question. Here's what I'll tell you. If a kid is slide tackling with proper technique and in a safe way, I let it go. But what I usually say the first time someone attempts a slide tackle on the field, I walk over to that kid and I say, hey, that was pretty cool, nice technique. I tell you, if you do it even remotely wrong, I'm outlawing you from doing the rest of the game, right? So as soon as it becomes at least remotely dangerous on a slide tackle, that kid and everyone else on the field, I just make an announcement, no more slide tackles. Because our number one goal, you'll see it, safety, player safety. So if everyone's kind of sliding, it's okay, and they're kind of doing it a safe way and being smart about it, fine. But usually there's some yahoos from behind or something stupid happening, and then I just stop it on the field altogether. I make an announcement to the players, I make an announcement to the coaches, I yell it over at the parents, and we're done with slide tackling in the game. Got it? But it's not against the rules when done properly. But it can become against the rules in a game if you choose. I'll kind of jump ahead a little bit. When you walk on the soccer field, you're in charge of the field. What happens on that field is now up to you. You decide what you're allowing and not allowing that day by the way you call and the way you communicate about what you're calling. Got it? So if you feel like it's unsafe because you can see that Johnny here is going to go nuts, just stop before Johnny goes nuts and hurts somebody. I don't care if it's in the rules or not, say it's done, because we want to keep it safe. Okay? Okay, next up, we're talking about build out line. So the build out line is a 7v7 or a U10 specific rule, and it replaces the offside rules to an extent. And basically what it does is it moves the center of the field line down to a new line to create a new center of the field line to give a little more flexibility to players as they learn the offsides rule. All right, so how many here right now feel like I know offsides well? Oh my gosh, we got a couple of them, right? Okay, so good. How many of you here feel like that's a little, like you're like offsides, what? A little bit? No, it's okay, right? So it's one of those things where we got to learn this rule. It's one of the most important things because either as an assistant ref and as an assistant referee, one of your main calls you're going to be monitoring is the offside rule. That's also one of the most contentious calls, and so you need to make sure you understand what you're doing and doing it well so it doesn't become contentious. Okay? So let's talk through this. The build out line has two different issues it does. It creates an offsides, but it also is a way for restarts. What it does at at the U10 level, it pushes the players away from the goal box so a team can more easily get the ball out of their own area. Because when my girls were younger, you would go and you have to go in the penalty box. They could hardly kick the ball out of the box. We have to do 7 kicks to get the ball out of the box. The defenders would stand at the edge of the box, foaming at their mouth and then score on you. So it got rid of this problem where kids didn't have enough leg strength to get the ball out of the goal box. So players have to move behind the build out line. The defending team does on the goal kicks. The goal kick can be taken all the way to the edge of the penalty box. So even though we put like a little box in, a goal box in, the ball can go all the way to the top of the penalty box for them to kick it out. Got it? Does that make sense? So coaches don't know this. We got to tell the coaches because that's definitely part of it.
Yeah, we did, I think, a fair job last year of educating coaches because this is a new rule that went into play just 2 years ago, I think.
2 or 3, yeah.
And they did this because they found, US Youth Soccer put out the statistic that found that goal scoring opportunities were created more than 70% of the time because, to Eric's point, at this age, kids aren't young enough to get the ball all the way out of the penalty area. So they moved it way back where the defenders have to start from and way up where the goalie can start from to kind of offset some of those scoring chances that were constantly being created for the defending team. So those of you who feel confident enough and will from time to time do the Rec Plus matches especially, you need to know anytime you're reffing a match at our facility against Indy Premier, they do not play that rule, okay? So their coaches may be emphatic about, well, goal kicks are supposed to be taken from the goal box. It's your job, like Coach Eric said, take charge before the match. You make sure if a team is visiting our facility, those coaches know goal kicks can be taken anywhere inside the penalty box, not the goalie box, for 70% for U10.
Yeah, your field. Okay. So the other thing to note is that the build out line also, if the goalkeeper gets the ball in their hands, ball's been shot, goalkeeper picks it up, the other team needs to retract behind the build out line. So they need to make it their way back. What will happen most often is a player will cheat and start looking over their shoulders and go real slow, looking for the goalkeeper to throw the ball, and then dart. If you see that, blow your whistle. They infringed on the build out line rule. Put the ball where the player touched the ball. Now that's an indirect kick, hand up in the air, coming out from where the ball was touched by the player who's cheating the build out line. A smart player will try to cheat the heck out of the build out line. They'll be like, and you can just see it, and they'll dart and never get back to the build out line. Now, there's an exception. The goalkeeper has the ball, and they just are running out wildly and just throwing it, and the player's running backwards and it hits them in the back of their head. Not an infraction. That's not that player's fault. They're running and a goalkeeper just whipped the ball into their back, right? No infraction, play continues. Got it? Okay. Next up then is it's illegal to do headers at U10 and U12. But it has to be a purposeful header to be illegal. just as some ball hits a kid in the head and they didn't even see it coming, it's not against the rules, right? It's only purposeful headers. And you can usually tell because usually what will happen is the player will stop and you'll see them kind of jump, okay? If you see someone stop and kind of jump, and they can't claim it wasn't purposeful at that point. They definitely made a move towards the ball to use their head. But if the ball just kind of is bouncing around and hits their head and they're like, oh, because the kid will like look lost, not purposeful, let the play continue. If a non-purposeful header happens, indirect free kick, hands in the air to the other team. If it happens inside, let's say, in a penalty area, and I think maybe this did not have Decora, it's not the thing before. But if it's in the penalty box area, the ball goes back to the edge of the penalty box. We do not take an indirect free kick inside the box of the illegal header. It goes back to the edge. Got it? Okay. Next up then, no punting. If a player punts it, I would give them a warning the first time that happens because sometimes they just don't realize it. It's where you can help you a coach, right? And be like, oh, ball whistle, hold on. Oh, hey, you can't punt. Let's restart play. Let's bring the ball back to you. It's rec league, right? It's not high competition. It's a development league, not a performance league. Let's help them develop. Here's the ball. Let's let them replay. Get back on the line. Let's restart play.
The first week or two, you're going to have some of those because indoor leagues right now, U10 can punt. Okay, so they're used to it playing all winter. They can punt. These first couple of weeks, I'm confident you'll have to warn a player or two.
Just remind them if it happens twice in the same half, indirect kick, top of the penalty box. Okay. 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 Next up then is something I'll fill out line here. So this is my little graphic. Blue's got the ball. Gophers got the ball. You can see red's been moving behind the build out line. That's where they're forced back there. That's the build out line. It's halfway between the top of the arch and the bottom of the circle is where the build out line goes. I think our field's about 7.5 yards or something like that between the two. So the goalkeeper at that point plays the ball where they would like. Once the goalkeeper plays the ball with their foot out or it rolls, they can come into the space. They don't have to wait for a touch, they can come straight in. Okay? Next up, let's talk about the offsides portion of build out line. So, in this diagram, we can see our build out line is right here. Blue's got the ball. All the red players are pushed up towards blue. Blue's got number 3 there running wide open. Number 1, blue passes the ball. Number 3, clearly inside the build out line space, clearly an offside position. Blow your whistle. It's an offside call, or a cherry picking call is what they call it at this level. Blow your whistle, indirect kick, place the ball where the ball was basically played. Okay? So you see the build out line is basically the new midfield offside line. Next one then, in this situation, we're not midfield here, we got a build out line. So the 3 reds are up. 3 blues behind the reds. Blues playing the ball through, but because they're in front of the build out line, because the build line becomes the new center line, this play is not offsides. The build out line creates a buffer of space. Does that make sense? So all we did was move the play like 10 yards back this way, the exact same play, but the build out line is your offsides line. Are we understanding that difference? Because this is important. This is going to come up. You're going to want to know how to call it. Okay, ladies, down there on phones, you got me?
And gentlemen.
You got me?
Yeah, guys, Coach Eric, we can't reiterate this enough. This rule at this age level is the most confused rule for parents in particular. They're like, oh, that's not offsides. So you really got to learn this rule in particular and feel confident when you make that call, because this is the one you'll get questioned on more than anything. Okay? This offsides call.
And I don't care. As long as that blue player is not behind the build-out line, it is never offside no matter where the red players are in this scenario, the defenders are. Got it?
Can I add some
Yep.
into this?
Yep.
This is probably the most difficult part of doing a build-out line, and the way I've always thought about it, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys want me to think about it differently, but I'm not even really necessarily calling offsides as I would in an 11v11. If they're 3 steps offsides, and I'm facing the run, what if I whistle real quick and I look left and there's a defender? You got to make sure, and the rules didn't exist when I started prepping.
Yeah.
I don't know when they
I think it's 2019 is when this came
yeah,
into
I've been
play.
doing this a long time. So don't necessarily think you're calling offside. It's more, and like you said, when you get to the field, communicate with the coach. But I'm not here to call a run offside where it's 2 steps or something like that. It has to be actual cherry picking, if you know what I mean by that. And again, if you are sure and he's like, they're really offside, you want to call it. But we're not looking for anything real close to, and that's important. And it's important the coaches know that.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, we're calling offsides. They're standing on the sideline. They see the 2 steps offsides, but that's not what the rule's for.
Yeah, so the scenario 4, you can see how the player is way behind the line and way behind the defenders. At this point, it's just, if they get the ball, it's them, him, the goalkeeper, cherry picking, right? Be it one-on-one now because I got myself in a position that was way unfair. This next one, yes, they're unfair, but partly because the defense is so bad in position that you can let it go because of the way the build out line works. I think I got another one here for you so you should see. In this scenario, this is more, I think, your point, Andrew. See, the ball is now inside the build out line and there's defenders in the space and blue makes a pass through. Well, now the blue player's not that far offside because they're outside the box. There's a line, it's only 7.5 yards between those two positions, 7.5 yards. The ball gets poked through. They may be 2 or 3 steps most beyond that player, but we're inside the box. Once the ball enters into the build out space, don't call offsides. Don't call anything. Once the ball enters that space, it's a free for all, okay? That makes the defenders have to work on playing proper defense as well. Okay, so if the ball's into the space, never think about calling cherry picking or offsides on a build out line situation.
And I'll just add this one more thing. Don't be afraid to admit your mistake if you make one. Okay? When I started, there were a couple times, as well as I know this rule, I did not have proper vision. I did not see a player kept someone on sides. I would call them off sides. I admitted my mistake, and I even would let the parents, hey guys, I missed that call. Coaches especially, and some of the parents will really appreciate if you're just honest and say, you know what, I messed up, because we're all imperfect, right? They don't expect you to be perfect, right? But if you can admit and own up what you did and learn from that, it will provide you a lot of grace from those coaches and those parents.
I want to get a couple more scenarios, then we'll take a break, okay? So in this scenario, you can see again, blue, there's a red player back, but blue is still way up in a position where they are one-on-one and it's going to be a cherry-picking type situation. Even though red is kind of in the zone, the blue player is so far away from the ball and so behind the play, it's still going to be an offsides call. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's kind of show you time. And the referee's got possession of the ball. Blow your whistle and let the subs come on. It's rec league. We want the kids to play. We don't standing on the sideline trying to get subbed into the game. So understand that. So you've been watching and you can see that people have been lined up on the sideline for 2-3 minutes and the ball hasn't gone on a bounce. As soon as the referee gets the ball, blow your whistle real quick. Say, hey, let's bring the subs on. Let's bring the subs on. Then take the ball, go back to the goalkeeper, toss it to him, let him pick it back up when we start play. But we get the players on the field so they can play soccer. Got it? Because we don't want, it's hard on the coaches to get even playing time when it gets lopsided because you can't get the players on.
You can pay me in high fives.
Next up. All right, on the throw-ins. Remember, it's 2 feet down, ball over behind their head, ball goes over their head. Assistant referees and center referees pay attention to this, okay? Early in the season, if they don't do it proper, give them a rethrow. Say, hey, you jumped or you lifted your foot, give them a rethrow. And if they don't do it again, then go again. Other things you may want to watch for or warn players about, some players will throw the ball with a twist and you'll see it spin out. You can see the ball spinning onto the field. That's against the rules. The ball should come over their head directly. It should not be spun. So if you see it, tell the player, hey, you're spinning the ball in your throw, you need to stop it. So what happens, they bring it from their shoulder to get more power, and they launch it with spin on it. Sometimes the purpose is trying to spin it to a player. So you can allow it one happen once, just warn them that you're throwing the ball with a spin. Then you can say, hey, I warned you, you did it again, I'll blow my whistle, others throw. And make them throw a better throw in, right? They can drag their feet, right? Once the ball leaves their hands, they can lift their foot. Ball's gotta be out of their hands. The most common thing, you can see it coming, the kid will look in a kid's eye and he'll be like, and you know he's gonna jump. He's gonna jump and throw the ball, or the girl's gonna jump and throw the ball. If you might even say to him before they jump, hey, don't jump, like before they throw it, right? Try to stop it so you can play more soccer without having to restart the play, but try to get them to keep their feet down. Sound good? I watched a travel game, a low-level travel game. I refereed the rhythm travel game, and I kid you not, I called 8 bad throw-ins in October at the end of the fall season. I could not believe how many bad throw-ins there were in this game. So make sure they throw the ball in properly. It's part of soccer. Hey, if the ball hits you, so you're in the play, they kick a ball, you try to read the situation, you're like, where do I need to stand, get out of the way? Someone kicks the ball and it hits you, right? Blow your whistle, the ball's dead, the ball restarts, the ball is an indirect free kick to the team who last kicked the ball that hit you. Make everyone back away 7 to 8 yards, okay? The ball doesn't just continue to play that hits off of you. We blow the whistle, we restart play because the ball bounces in a weird way and creates advantages or disadvantages to teams. Got it? I don't see referees do that consistently, and you need to. The ball hits you, it's a dead ball, restart with an indirect hit. Or actually, do I have an indirect? No, it's a drop ball, excuse me. It's a restart with a drop ball. So it's not contested. So let's say Andrew kicked off of me, I come over with the ball, Andrew's on the team, I just walk over, no one 4 yards away from him, I drop the ball to Andrew's feet, ball's alive when I drop it. Yes?
So like when you're doing drop ball, like is it just for the team?
No, there is no contested drop balls any longer in soccer. So it's only to whoever's last touched the ball, it's a drop ball just to that team of player. Everyone else is 4 yards away. I think it's technically 3.5, let's do 4. Because I think the rule's 3.5, that's dumb. So do 4 yards. Okay? That's why I did 4 there, but technically it's 3.5. Yes?
So if one team hits you, like the ball, it goes to the other team, or
No,
it's the same team?
same the team that hit you because they were trying to make a play that you interfered with, so it's their ball. Make sense? So that goes back to them. Good questions? Glad that we had that. Handballs, be lenient is my first rule and foremost. All right? A lot of players in this league will be like, oh my gosh, the ball's coming, and put their hands up to protect themselves. If you feel they're trying to protect themselves, don't call a handball, okay? Give them the benefit of the doubt if you think it's protective. Now, if a player's running down the field like this, and the ball hits them, call a handball because their hands are in freaking ridiculous positions, right? So hey, talk to them before the game about it though so they know it's coming. If the other one happens, some player, the ball's in the air, and they're like, they put their hands above their head and hit it. Call a handball, their hands are above their head. Yeah?
They're running like water on this thing.
There you go, Chris. So, be lenient. The only time I want you to call a handball that's not super lenient but more harsh. So, if a player's dribbling on the field and the ball pops right up and hits their hands, and then they immediately take a shot and score, or they go to their teammate and their teammate scores, call a handball. Because that led to an unfair advantage that led directly to a goal. Got me? So, but if a player just running down the field and the ball pops up and hits them in the hand in the middle of the field, let them play. Don't call a whistle on it. So you're watching for the blank nonsense handballs, right? That's what you're watching for, nothing else. Sound good? Talk to the coaches and the players before the game about how you're going to call that so they're aware of it, and then it's real easy. They're not yelling at you about handballs all game. Okay. Next, foul calls. So there's yeah.
Actually, got a couple questions. We want to know, are we calling them from here down or calling them from here up?
So technically speaking, hand starts from here down. Hand starts from basically above, halfway between your elbow and your shoulder, and down is considered. So your shoulder is not a handball, but here and down is a handball.
About sleeve down?
Sleeve down is a handball space. But if someone's hands are near their bodies, don't call it. If they're protecting themselves, don't call it. But if they're running around stupid like this, call it. That's where you're going to see it, right? So foul calls. Technically in soccer, there's 3 types of foul calls. There's common foul, reckless, or serious. In rec league, there's a 4th type of foul. It's called incompetence. They don't know what they're doing, and they're doing stupid stuff on the field, okay? They're just kicking willy-nilly at anything that comes near them. And they're just hitting each other, right? So be mindful that a lot of what you're going to see out here is incompetence fouls, not actually common foul or even a reckless foul. They're not purposely fouling each other. They simply are just trying to get the ball. So the one I see most is that the player will be here, the ball will be here, and the player behind him just trying to kick their legs, trying to get to the ball. And all you do is say, hey, stop kicking the back of the legs. Stop kicking the back of the legs. Right? Now, if they continue to kick the back of the legs, call a foul, because it is a foul, but it's really an incompetence foul. They just don't understand they shouldn't do it, right? They're not maliciously trying to kick them in the back of the legs. Yeah, Ellie?
Something to add is that a lot of the some games are really annoying. Like they look like really new, and the kids will get really mad if they fall and we don't call foul. But so like before the game, we usually explain like the field's wet, you're short, you're gonna slip. I'm not gonna call, especially the boys. They are like really like you really should try to explain like if you're wet field, you're gonna slip. Not every time you call it's foul.
Field conditions are another foul call. So anyway, you'll see a lot of incompetence. You'll see some common where someone purposely, does something that's stupid. Occasionally you'll see a cautionable foul, and you almost never will see a sending off foul. I have only probably given, at the rec level, 2 red cards in my entire career. Maybe 2. So both the girls. Bad attitudes. So these are the type of fouls we have. I'm not going to go through all these. These type of fouls lead to direct kicks, These type of fouls lead to indirect kicks. Know the difference. A general rule but not a steadfast rule, if I do something to you, it's a direct kick. If I kick Andrew, if I spit at Andrew, if I hit Andrew. But if I break a rule of soccer, like I'm offsides, it's just an indirect kick. If I pass the ball back to my goalkeeper and they pick him up with my foot, they pick up their hands. I broke a rule of soccer, I didn't do anything to anybody. So a general rule between indirect and direct, if you're not sure what the call is, cite on it, did they do something to somebody else or not? Does that make sense? Is the sort of the standard? But do know there are different kinds. The most common is going to be charging, jumping, kicking, pushing, striking, tackling, tripping, holding, and you probably won't see much. Impeding a little bit, biting, never, spitting, and throwing an object on the field or at a player probably will see. But those are things that we'll see. These are the cautionable fouls. These are red card fouls. I will say this: the only time I give yellow cards, I gave 2 yellow cards in rec season last year to both the boys. One boy blatantly pulled someone's jersey to get an advantage. Unsporting behavior. It was maybe the kid had been on the field for 1 minute, gave him a yellow card, he didn't pull another jersey the rest of the game. Just get it done with, don't let him pull jerseys, right? The other one I gave was a reckless foul play. So the player left his feet, jumped in the air, tried to block a ball, turned himself completely backwards, and just plowed a kid. Like just landed on him, cleated his legs, like plowed him. So at that point, it's getting reckless, right? You can't leave your feet with no vision, don't know where you're land, and then basically rake a kid's leg with your cleats and then land on top of him. Super reckless play. He got a yellow card, calmed down, the rest of the game was good. So look for the plays that are the plays that are gonna injured players are clearly just really bad sportsmanship, like the full jersey. Those will be the 2 most you're gonna probably look for getting a card. Everything else, you'll probably say like, hey, stop it, don't do it. The other one that comes in a lot is this rule, persistent infringement. Some kid just continually trips a kid over and over. Tripping is a common foul, but he does it over and over again, and you warned him. Sort of like I'm probably a 4 strikes and out guy versus a 3 strikes and out guy. I'll say, the first time he does, I'll just blow my whistle. Second time he does, I'll like, hey, watch your tripping. The third time he does it, if it's not bad, I'll be like, hey, that was your last time. And if he does it 4th, then I give him a yellow. And so one of the red cards I've given is because a girl, she would constantly put an elbow up after the play and then push players off the ball when the ball was gone. I told her to stop. She just kept doing it. She got a yellow card. She would not, did it 2, 3 more times, gave her another card and threw her out with a red card. And her coach thanked me because she was being a bad attitude about it. So that's one of the times you go through it. So again, pulling the jersey is yellow, reckless play, yellow, consistent infringement, right? Okay, the other one you'll have is stopping a clear goal scoring opportunity. So let's say a person is on a breakaway, going towards goal, and some kid comes from behind and just takes their legs out. So technically, depending on where it happens, if it's outside the box, it's a red card. All right? If it's inside the box, you give a yellow card and they get a penalty kick because you don't want to do double jeopardy is what they call it, where you get thrown out of the game and they get a penalty kick now. So that used to be all those are reds. But if a kid does it in our league, give him a yellow. Don't throw him out of the game for tripping a kid unless you feel like it was really bad in that scenario, okay? Because if you're gonna start a fight, which we had, where probably the right call, but ultimately like it was a double jeopardy situation. We got a red card, I believe, and then got a penalty kick, and then the coach lost their mind, and I was not good. Yes. Infringement is consistently infringing on the rules or breaking the rule. So they consistently are infringing the exact same rule over and over, or breaking the same rule over and over. Good question. If you issue a red card, you must file a report, because we got to throw them out for a game. And that goes for coaches as well. So we'll get that to you if you need it. We'll get it to you. This is not the exact form, but it gives you the idea. But that information will require of you to tell us what happened, so that we can then take action appropriately for it and discipline it properly.
All of these sheets that Coach Eric is displaying on the presentation here, we'll have copies of all of these things at the referee window at the club. So hopefully you never have to use something like this, but whether it's the rules or the one-sheeter, we'll have copies of all of that stuff for you guys to review at any point. We'll have them in the referee room if you want to refresh your memory on certain things in between matches. So
just come get one of us and we'll help you.
Yeah, you're not going to deal with it. We'll deal with it. Next, the final thing on this is advantage calls. So sometimes there's a foul in the soccer game where it's clearly a foul, but you can see the player continue their drive and maybe they're going to goal. Maybe they're creating an opportunity. That's where you can call advantage. So the way you call advantage, anybody know? So you can do one hand, you can do 2 hands. I verbally say advantage or play on. It's 2 words I'll use. It used to be play on was the standard, now it's advantage. So it's kind of changed over the years. If it was the 90s, it was definitely play on. But so you would say advantage, and so you say, I saw there's a foul, I recognize there's a foul, I'm making a call as there's a foul, but I'm not blowing my whistle and stopping the game because I think this might lead to something good. Now, that play may go continue, and you can see it doesn't lead to anything good. Blow your whistle, bring the ball back, award the proper kick, probably a direct kick in that scenario. At that point, at the spot where the original foul occurred, if it doesn't turn into an advantage play, like the ball. But if a player gets a good shot on goal, or takes a shot and just kicks it way wide, they got a good shot, they had advantage, let it go, you restart with a goal kick in that scenario, let's say. So that's the advantage call, okay? Offsides, okay, so I have a whole video for you, but I don't have internet, and we're not gonna do it. I'm gonna try to go through this relatively quickly. So, clearly, the X's here are referees. So you can see the X in the middle of the field, the center referee. The one on the right is the AR. The AR is lined up with the back line, second to last defender. Clearly the ball is being, when the ball is played, where is the blue player and are they in offside position? They are, it's an offsides. Do you see it? Easy one to call. Next one. Any part of your body that's a playable part of your body in that game can be offsides. So at U12, you cannot use your head to play the ball. So the player is standing like this with their head in an offside position and just their head's in the offside position. Because it's not playable, they're not offsides. That makes sense? So if they have their hand across the line, not offsides. So you're looking for feet, you're looking for a shoulder, because those are playable parts of their body. When you get to the upper levels, the whole body, including the head's in offside position. So in this one, this is offsides, but I'm trying to show you that 2 is just barely got a playable piece. Even like the side of their arm can be offsides, the ball won't play and they're offsides. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if the call's that tight, keep your flag down. Don't call that call, but I just want you to understand that's the rule, okay? But let that play go. If you think it's that tight, don't call that offsides, okay? All you're gonna do is start a fight, and it's not worth it, and there's no VAR, okay? Video assistant referee. In this scenario, this icon represents a shot. You can see the second player, player 2 here is in offside position. Number 1 takes a shot. They are not offside because they are not involved in this play. Right? They can shoot, someone can be in offside position, but as long as the ball's not played to them, they are not offsides. And again, I have a video explaining all this. I'm doing the short version here. Can I do the same thing twice? Maybe. All right. In this scenario, player 1's taking a shot, the goalkeeper spilled it, like had the ball but spilled it out. Player 2 from an offside position immediately takes a shot on goal. That's offsides because the red team in this scenario never regained possession to reestablish a line of offsides. So in that scenario, you cannot, so the most common thing, off a goalkeeper, off a post happens most frequently. So the second player is involved, but in offside position, it's offsides. Do you see it? Kind of crazy, right? Offsides, gotta watch for it. This scenario, player 2 now has moved over, player 1's to take a shot, but player 2 is blocking the vision of the goalkeeper by their positioning. So even though player 2 never touches the ball in this scenario, because they're blocking the goalkeeper's position, the ball is played through them, they're involved in the play, offsides. Okay? In this scenario, player 2 is offsides, when the ball gets played to player 3, and player 3 is in an on-time position, just because player 2 is offsides, player 3 got played the ball, not offsides. Doesn't matter what player 2 is, they're not involved in the play. Everybody good on that one? This position, and this is the last one, player 3 is in offside position at the time the ball's played. Player 1 played the ball really short. Player 3 runs, out hustles 2 and 3 on red, gets the ball first. Because when the ball was played, they were offsides, even though the ball never passed the defense, that's an offside position. And usually you signal it this way. You say, they came from an offside position back onto an onside position, and you'll blow your whistle, raise your hand, and I'll just go like this, indicating that the ball, they came from an offside position to play the ball in onside position. Yeah?
So number 1 has to walk, and number 3 knows he or she's offsides, and they like before the first number 1 even takes it, and they come on.
They can come back, right? So what would usually happen in that scenario is number 3 wouldn't go for the ball because they couldn't play the ball, they're offsides. Or sometimes, let's say the ball got played to number 3, they may not move towards the ball and walk away to indicate they're not playing the ball in order to try to reset the play. It's up to you if you want to call that or not, but it's up. Usually you try to give the benefit of the doubt, let them reset play without calling the offsides. Ideally, you're going to play your whistle enough to control the game and keep it safe, but you don't want to blow your whistle so much that you're basically blowing your whistle every 10 seconds or 30 seconds on a soccer game, right? You want to keep it safe, you want to keep it fun, but you don't want to overblow to call everything. All right, just finally, Yeah.
Let me add two quick things real quick that I think would help out. If there, can you go back to that slide? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just it would help me out when I
Yeah.
first started. So if one plays the ball, it's a 3 on blue. And correct me if you guys want me to do anything different for me correctly. But if 3 on red, it skims his head and he's in an offside position. 3 on blue, it hits his head, for example, goes backwards and he tries to clear it with the header, right? He's no longer in an offside position. It's deflected off the defender. If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Make it happen.
So, for example, tries to play the through ball to 3 kicks at it, makes clear contact, it spins back, and he's in a clear offside position. He no longer is because the defender made a play on the ball and made contact with the ball. Another thing to think about when you're starting, especially if there's any goalies that you notice they really punt the ball, there is offside on punts, and you will want to watch that.
Yeah. So you can be offside no punt. Okay, next up, I want to just go over here. On a penalty kick, this is the only time the AR enters the field. Theoretically, you can come down and help out. But you see how the AR who was running this side has moved in, so they're closer to the goal to see the goal line. So when a penalty kick occurs, you have your center referee in a center position watching the play, and then your AR moves in order to make sure that they can see the goal line more clearly. Got it? All right, next up then, water breaks. So if you go to a game and one of the teams has almost no players or no subs or one sub, give them a water break halfway through the half. It's safety, right? So you say to both coaches, hey, we're gonna do a water break halfway through the half. Everyone knows it's gonna be for 2 minutes, the clock stays, you don't stop the clock, you keep it running, because the team that doesn't have any subs is at a disadvantage, right? We wanna keep those players safe and hydrated. Got me? So you can also do that if it's 1 sub, 2 sub, it's at your discretion. If a coach comes to you and says, hey, my girls aren't playing, feeling well today, can we have a water break? It's at your discretion. Side on the side of safety though, give it to them. I don't care what the other coach says or cares about it. Give it to the coach who's asking for it because it's a safety precaution. Yeah.
Did you say to stop the timer?
No, keep the time running. Don't stop time. We don't have any what's called stoppage time in our league, with the exception, I have a slide here later on, I'll say it real quick though to you. If someone's severely injured and a game gets paused for 10 minutes or something because someone broke their arm or something on the field, which happens, then in that scenario, they only play 1 game a week, give them some time back. Let them continue to play a little extra. But if we're just doing a water break, if we're just subbing, no stoppage time. Got it? Yep.
So the water breaks have to be 2 minutes or can it be?
I make them as quick as possible. I would just say 2 minutes so they get out there. So you could see how I sent you guys to a water break? I gave you a time frame and I started yelling out time to you. That's exactly what I would do, right? Otherwise, people will dilly-dally and the game won't restart quickly. And the goal here is to get a quick drink of water, not get extra coaching. See what I'm saying? So we're trying to be a safety concern, not a coaching. Also, it's a super hot day. Give everybody a water break no matter what. Okay? And some people actually will actually ask for the times of each lesson. So I know at the high school league, we play 40-minute halves, but we didn't have any subs, and we just shortened our games to 35-minute halves a lot, just because it was a little bit less time for our sub situation, and we had fun, and the games were decided, so let's call it a day, kind of deal. Or we were losing light a lot of times in fall. Yep. Next up then, shortened games, no stoppage time. A game is official and not replayed, and you get full money as long as we get through the first half. Okay? So if weather comes in or anything else, as long as we get through the first half, you get paid. We don't reschedule the game. Yeah, unfortunately, if a game doesn't get through the first half, it's not official, you don't get paid. Unless someone wants to be generous. Then I'm not in charge of that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll make a judgment call. If it's like, and this has happened. Like this happened to our U14s last season. Did we get through the half and then they called it right after?
Yeah, I think we got one. I think one time, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
No, well, one time it was at IP out at that elementary school behind the school. We were probably under 5 minutes to halftime, and they called the game. Right? If you get that close to the half, we're pretty cool about that, generous.
No, we had a U12 game that was like less than 2 minutes from halftime, and the alarm went off.
But if there's still adequate amount of time left, we'll just reschedule.
Yep. So now we're getting into game day procedure. So when your first day at Noblesville United, when you arrive, here's what you're going to go through. Okay. So you should arrive 20 to 30 minutes before your game. Head to the concession stand, and there you're going to pick up a reporting sheet, which I'll show you in a second, and basically make sure we know you're there for your game, right? So we know that you're ready to go. Double check that we may move you around sometimes. We have something happen, someone's called the night before sick or whatever. We may say, hey, go to this field instead of that field, whatever we're gonna do. We'll talk to you about that. And then we'll say, hey, head to your field. We want you to go to your field 15 to 20 minutes before your game. Now we've been really good. Games usually aren't scheduled on fields that are back to back. So like field 1 and 3 will get scheduled, and then field 2 and 4 will get scheduled. So you should have some space. It should be obvious which field you go to, and there shouldn't be too much confusion about which field it is. There'll only be 2 games, but there'll be space in between them happening.
If you can, try to go as a team, right? If you're the center and your ARs are there, go out there as a single unit, right? Fans, coaches, they love to see you go out there as a single unit, know that you're organized, you know what you're doing, you're working together as a team. If parents or coaches see one referee running on the field from this direction, one from this direction, and one from this direction, they're like, oh man, what are we getting into?
Yeah. So then this is what the game, your referee payment form you'll pick up at the beginning of the day looks like. You'll fill in your games, you'll put the day, your name's on it obviously, what age group, what match number that's going to be in the system for you to see. Were you the center, were you an AR, what time was the game, what field were you on, and then tell us final scores. We do keep scores. There's different reasons for that. We've traded sometimes match teams that are more evenly depending on their score sets against each other. So weaker teams can play weaker teams at times. So we do want scores. Okay? Next, in the pregame, when you walk to the field, when you get there, I like to, remember, it's your field when you get there, right? It's yours. What I like to do is I like to immediately walk across that field looking for trash and debris. There might be sticks that blew in overnight, there could be some trash, there could be a pin, you never know what you're gonna find. Walk around, so if it's just you, walk the field, check it out, right? I like to go and straighten all the corner fillets, make it look nice. Like, just make it's my field, I want it to look nice. I like to greet parents. I like to go over and say, hey everybody, thanks for coming out tonight, hope it's a great game, or whatever it is. They know that I'm friendly, because immediately if I set a positive tone on that field, guess what I get back from the parents? Positive, right? So go be a positive. If you're kind of reclused and like kind of looking like sullen and mean, they're not going to have a lot of compassion for you. So go be nice to them and say hello to them. Got me? Next, I like to go to, if you have ARs, I'd like to tell ARs, hey, if there's parents on your sideline who run the parent side, push them back so you have space. Because those parents sometimes will be like, right on the line. And you're like, hey, can I have some? Hey, how you guys doing? Can you guys move back a little bit? I can run right through here. I don't think you guys want to see my butt all day. Whatever funny thing you want to say to them, push them back so you can run the line. Okay? If you have AR side, who's going to do coach's side, who's doing parent side, I would stick with what you have for the entire game because you'll get to see both teams and work both teams. Because some teams might dominate the game, and so you get to see more action. I wouldn't switch halfway that one becomes the coach and one becomes the parent. Okay? Talk with the coaches before this, right? You walk out there, start talking. How you doing? My name is. Your name is. How you guys doing this? You having fun? Here's how I'm thinking about. Is there anything you're concerned about? You want me to talk about your players about? Any concerns you have? You address them, right? Communicate with people to make things better. Talk to them about how you do handballs, throwing, substitution, and water breaks beforehand. Before you talk to the players, make sure the coaches are on board and know what's going on so they're not surprised. Okay? Then, 7 to 10 minutes before kickoff, go do a check-in. I like to do the player check-ins with everybody as a team, not separately. I like to go over there and talk with them as well because I'm going to talk to them during the game, right? I don't send my ARs off if I'm center and then make them do it. I do it with my ARs, introduce my ARs, go through everything we're going to talk about. So introduce yourself, explain how to call the game, check for the equipment. They have to have shin guards, and they can't have metal cleats, okay? And no giant hoopy earrings, but don't make a kid cry taking out their starter earring that's a nub. Let them wear it. Put some tape on it, let them wear it. Like, we're not here to, don't let them wear metal on their arm though because it can hurt and watch us. Make sure they take off. Now there's some kids who have medical reasons, let them wear their medical stuff, okay? So no dangly earrings. Get a game ball from the home team, make sure it's pumped up. It's absolutely you can absolutely say to someone, I don't like this ball. Give me a different ball. That's your call. If you don't like it, it's too slick, it's not your style, you feel like it's too hard, whatever. Just make sure it's pumped up and you like it for the game. And then make it fun. I like to joke. I'll be like, ooh, we got Billy Butterfree today. You know, make it fun, right? Make the kids laugh, have fun. Next up, pregame, 5 minutes before the game starts. Call for captains. Make the captains introduce themselves, shake each other's hands, right? Be friendly to each other. Allow the away team to call the flip of your coin. Have a coin. Let the away team call it. Whoever wins the toss, they get to choose either to defend a certain side or to have kickoff, okay? So, whoever decides they want the ball or they want to defend a certain side. Make it fun, make them shake their hand, make them do a silly handshake, whatever it is, make it fun.
If you forget your coin, okay, something I've seen people do and still keep it fun, you do winner take all, rock, paper, scissors, that's how you decide, okay? If you forget your coin. And it keeps it fun.
So we do have a weather alert system, and it's a good time to cover this now. So we will, on the concession stand, you cannot see the system from the U10 or 77 fields because they're behind it. I don't think you can, unless it goes above. I don't think you can, but you can hear it. But it'll start flashing red if there's lightning in the vicinity. Is it 12 miles out?
12.
Something like that?
Yeah.
12 miles away. If lightning gets closer to 8 or 7 or something, 8 miles out, alarms will sound. When those alarm sounds, you blow your whistle, that immediately, you make clear the fields and you get them out of here. If you know weather's incoming, prep everybody before the game starts. So what I will do is be like, coaches, we got weather coming in. If that alarm goes off, you got to exit the field immediately with your players. And I'll go over and tell the parents, hey parents, that alarm goes off, you got to get out of here. Get your kids to get out of here. There's a good chance, depending on where the hits, that we won't finish that game that day. We're probably done because we have to wait till the last lightning is 8 miles out from our facility in 30 minutes. So if lightning, once in a while there's one strike and then we're 30 minutes and we're going again, but a lot of times it's 20 minutes of lightning and then before we can even start the 30-minute counter, and at that point our times are up because you might have to go referee another game. So we will have those kind of situations. That's why games get rescheduled sometimes, right? But just know that's what's happening. If you hear the alarm go off, get out. After 30 minutes of safe, so it'll keep sounding the alarm every time there's a new one, I think, pretty frequently. But eventually, if there's no lightning for 30 minutes, then it sounds to tell you it's clear. So you go, if there's no sound and it looks better for 30 minutes, then it's the clear siren. That sounds exactly like the siren when there's lightning. So it's a little confusing, but we'll be there to help you out. Yeah.
So if the alarm goes off, will you tell the parents and teachers to benefit? Do you mean go to the overhang or they wait in their car?
I would go to the car because I'm going to go there. I'd say, hey, everybody blow your whistle. Everybody head out lightning, go to the car. Go to your car. And just yell it and get them out of there.
And they just wait there?
Yeah, and then we can announce through social media or email blast their field's going to stay closed or canceling games, whatever. That's how that goes down.
And that goes for you guys too.
You guys can come to the boardroom if you want. You guys can come. We would probably try to keep you out of concession stands so you're not constantly running around inside there, but you can come to that space, okay? Next is, make sure you start your game on time. During that game, I would always, before I start the game, I count how many players I have. So if I know it's a 77, I count 7. If I have 99, blah, 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 right? Help the coaches out, sometimes they screw up. Make sure your goalkeepers are ready, because your goalkeepers aren't ready, they get scored directly on a kickoff, so make sure they're ready to play. That'd be a quick, hey, goalkeeper, you ready? Goalkeeper, you ready? Blow your whistle, go, right? You should be keeping track of your time, and all the assistant referees should have time as well, because I tell you what, there's times where I screw up, and I hit a button, or I forget to start it, or something stupid happens, and I need someone else to tell me what the time is. So once I realize I have a problem, I'll be like, what's your time? And then I'll start my time and know that I got some 4 minutes off my time to be even with the right time or whatever. Again, just make it fun. One of the things I do at kickoff a lot of times, I'll ask players who are near the ball, be like, hey, you gonna score a goal today? And I just talk to them, right? And make it fun for them. And they'll tell me, yeah, I'm gonna get one or whatever, and we have fun. Next up, during the game, your number one goal is safety and fun. Call the game consistently. Encourage players on the field. Hey, that was a great pass, right? You're not telling them what to do, but you're encouraging when they do something well. Hey, that was a great shot. Good idea, right? You're not telling them, hey, Jimmy over there's open. Maybe you want to slide that pass through. You're not saying that to them. You're just saying encouraging things. Yeah.
For halftime and the end of the game results, we just go faster at halftime or what is it?
You can have every referee has their own style. I'm a 2-tweeter at halftime and I'm a 3-tweeter at the end time. But everyone has their own style. Part of refereing is style, right? I make certain calls and have certain styles I do as a referee that are proper, but not exactly like the de facto right way to do it. Like I very much call advantage with 2 hands, and that's what I learned. But most people call it with 1 now. It's just everyone has a style. Know your style, right? Give second chances with instruction if needed. So if someone jumps on the throw, you might go over there and be like, hey, come over here, keep your feet down, right? Help them. Or they throw the ball inside their head, help them, throw them out, help them, instruct them if you know how, right? Coach players when needed on a dead ball situation. Where does the corner kick ball go? Where does the goal kick ball go? Help them, right? Don't feel like they're not going to know. It's rec league. Help them, right? You're a coach on the field. Next, call the game with confidence. If you are not confident in what you're doing, it shows and it causes problems. I don't care if you're wrong. Do it with confidence, right? Be wrong with confidence and then in correction and learn from your mistake later. But if you're indecisive in a game, it will lead to people being mad and upset at you, right? The more confident you are, at least you do it with a lot of confidence, you can move along. If for any reason you believe a player is hurt in their head, immediately blow your whistle and stop the game, okay? Get them checked out. Now, you guys have done a little bit of maybe a heads-up training, a concussion protocol training. Your coaches have gone through one as well. You can call coaches in or you can do it yourself. I do it myself because I've gone through the training. But if you don't feel comfortable, be like, coach, your player got in the head, can you come check him out real quick, right? We want to make them safe. We don't want to mess around with head injuries, okay, and concussions. Sound good? Make sure if you're sending a referee that your AR is in proper position. If you see your AR is staring at the ground and not even with the second to last defender, it's your job to get them in the right spot. If you're centering, right? Hey, head up, get down where you need to be. And Ellie will tell you, and Anna will tell you, I yell at them all the time when I referee. Like, get in the right spot. Because if you're in the right spot, you'll make the right call. If you're in the wrong spot, you're more likely to make the wrong call. 5-minute half times. Make sure you hydrate. Answer any questions coaches may have. Most times coaches won't come to you, but if they do, they answer them. Talk with your referee team about anything that happened that you want to discuss. They don't understand something. It's a good chance to do some mentoring and talking. And then start your second half on time. We need to get the games going because you probably have another game to go to. End of the game. Gather the soccer ball. Give it back to the home team. You're going to line up. So if I'm center off of my ARs here, they'll get here, they'll get 5. They'll come through, shake your hands, give you fist bumps. Tell them good job, right? Encourage the players, thank the coaches, address any questions they may have, and then talk to your team, make sure you got the right score, because sometimes that's confusing. Make sure you got the right score, and you get them right written on your paper that you're going to turn in to get paid correctly. Okay? Then you will fill out your score sheet. You can drop those off the concession stand. There'll be a little box for you to put those in. That's how you get paid. If you get your red card, remember post game reports are needed. If an issue existed with a coach, even if you didn't get a yellow card or red card, please let us know. Because we need to know in order to address it properly. If an issue exists with a coach, we need to address it, not you. Got it? Yeah.
Are we allowed to give them yellow and red cards?
You can, but you may be better served to let us handle
She
it.
would be the one to help.
Okay? You may just want to come to us and say, hey, I had an issue, this coach is screaming at me today. Right? Let us handle it. Okay? Because you may not make it any better by doing that in the game. Okay? You eat free snack. Our boardroom's going to be open, so if you have time before your next game, you know, hang out in your conditioner, chill out. There's tables and chairs. Just don't mess with our stuff in there, okay? It's for you to sit and hang out in, not for you to touch our stuff. Okay? Just limit how much time you're in a concession stand. I don't want 6 referees standing in the concession stand when they're trying to sell stuff. Limit your time. Okay? Next up, communicate. This is these are tips and tricks. We're getting to the end here. Communicate with us about what's going on. We want to help you. We want you to feel safe and knowledgeable, but we can't help you if we don't know there's a problem. Got it? So communicate. The more you communicate, the easier it is for you and us. Communicate again. Communicate with your coaches and players before, during, and after the game. Communicate if you didn't get paid. Communicate if there's any issues. We want to help. We can only help you if we know there's an issue. And who's going to help you? Don't feel like you got to limit to anybody. It's any of us. It's anybody on the board. It's any staff member. We'll help you. Okay? We're all qualified to help you. Don't feel like you got to go find a certain person to get help. Any person at Noblesville United who works there or is on the board will help you. Okay? Next thing I want to mention is just as you make a center referee run, you might not have learned this, it's good to run in diagonals. From corner to corner, see your ARs are on the side. It gives you maximum field coverage. You should run a diagonal. You should practice that even at U10. Run in a diagonal. Corner to corner. See the corners you should run? Run those corners. The reason is because you can see more of the field and keep the ball between you and your ARs at higher levels of soccer. Center referee, you have the final say on all calls. You can consult with your ARs, but the center referee makes the final call. The center referee, you can put your flag up because you want an offside call. The center referee does not have to call that. They can be like, put your dang flag down, you're wrong. Or I'm not going to call that today. You still make the proper call, but the referee does not have to acknowledge it, or at least acknowledge it with a, hey, put your flag down, okay? Center referee makes the call, not you as an AR. The field is yours, make it friendly, fun, helpful, and safe, okay? Next one, on assistant referee. Put yourself in a good position to make the right call by being in the right position you need to be as an assistant referee. If you are in line with second defender, you will make better calls because you're in the right position to do so. Do not signal who has the ball in a throw-in. The center referee will make that signal. Now, the center referee may not be able to tell and need help. So what you can do is you think the ball should go this way. You can be like this to the referee and be like, I think it goes this way. But let the center referee make the call and then match. You got me? And if the referee says, no, I don't think so, then just match whatever the call. If you made a call as assistant referee, the referee changes it says, no, it's the other way, put your flag down, signal the proper call. Okay? You need to always, by the end of it, if you don't start with it, get on the same page with the center referee. Make sure you know your hand signals, your flag signals. You should have learned those. Get to know them, right? You need to make the right call. It's obvious. When someone doesn't know what they're doing with the flag, it's really obvious because you have a giant flag in your hand. It's even worse, right? So make sure you get to know those and review those. Keep track of both the score and the time as an AR so you know what's going on in the game. Place the cones or balls on the coach's side to help you have more room to run if the coach is on the line. And ask the parents to move back on the other side if they need to so you can run the line properly. Don't feel like you've got to accommodate the coach or the parents if you're trying to work the game as an official. They accommodate you. Got it? Finally, zones of control for the assistant referee. I want to show you this. So you'll see the AR at the top of the screen above the blue. That AR is responsible for looking down the line on the second to last defender, which I've marked as a 2, to know where that line of offside is and being in line. They also need to, in their quadrant down here, this back quadrant, they need to call any throw-in or goal kick or corner kick down here at the bottom of the screen. And they potentially can help with the foul call, but probably not at this level. You're not going to help with the foul call. They also, though, are responsible to look down the line on their sideline, all the way down their side for any out-of-bounds calls for throw-ins. You'll see that it'll highlight the baseline because that baseline you cannot see. You're not going to call goal kicks from that position up here all the way down this side of the field. So it's the same thing. Now, do you see how I talked about the center running a diagonal? Do you see how the center referee can run the diagonal and then help out seeing the quadrants the referees, these referees have spaces and responsibilities. See it? So that's why the center referee needs to run the diagonals and practice running the diagonals. Because they'll get coverage and help from their ARs in those spaces. When you watch for fouls, inexperienced players are most likely to call fouls with their feet. They're not going to grab people, they're going to kick people. Okay, so you're going to watch, if you think someone's inexperienced, watch their feet. Foul's going to occur from head to toe and out the mouth. They can cuss, they can yell. Players can foul their own team with their mouth. If a player says something awful to their teammate, it's a foul. And you give them a card for it, and you say, cut it out, and tell them to go see coach. Got it? Players can foul their own team with their mouth. So if you hear someone being discouraging on the field, cut it out. Give them a call, right? Indirect kick in that scenario. You need to scan constantly up and down. As I'm watching the game, I'm looking up and down the player with the ball. Constantly kind of looking who's where, up and down, seeing if I see hands moving, extended elbows and shoulders, extended hands, but also looking at the feet, okay? Watch the player who just passed the ball away for a half a second later to see if there's any foul that happens. Sometimes people dive in late and foul them late, and that's still a foul. So watch for the late foul that happens after the ball's away from it. So what I do is, ball gets played, I know it goes that way, I'll just take a half a second beat, and then I'll turn my head to see where it went. Because most likely there's not a foul happening that quick over here already, so watch for the late foul. You can't call everything, so don't try. If you do, it's going to be a nightmare for you, for the players, for the fans, for the coaches. Call the key things, be consistent with what you call. Finally, we have a zero tolerance policy. If a coach starts yelling at you and you don't like it, yellow card them, zero tolerance, right? If they keep yelling, give them a red card, get them out of there. We will deal with it. If you feel unsafe, like the coach is awful, you can blow your whistle and be like, and walk away. Come to the boardroom, come to the concession stand, and we will help you guys.
If a parent's acting that way, you go to the coaches. They'll
make
likely
the coach deal with it.
Yeah, and you make the coach deal with the fans. They'll likely know if it's one of theirs or the other team's parent. You let the coach deal with it. If they don't and the parent keeps it up, stop the game, come up, get one of us or the Ram, right? And then we will deal with with whoever this is that's causing trouble.
And then it's my final slide. So if you're dealing with a coach, a couple things, okay? If you don't deal with the fans, the coach deals with the fans, the parents, right? They deal with it, not you. So if there's a problem, you go to the coach, say, Coach, I don't know who that is, but I need you to go talk. Whoever that person is right there, somebody needs to go talk to them about what they're saying and their behavior right now, because it's unacceptable. And let them deal with it. If you're dealing with a coach, try not to escalate the situation. So if they're screaming and yelling at you, what I like to do, can I have someone real quick? Here, Andrew, come up here. I like to come in, so if this is the coach, he's like, I come in and I like to stand. Let's turn this way. I like to stand behind him, beside him. Okay, Coach, yeah, I hear what you're saying, Coach. I don't look him in the eye. I'm like, I hear what you're saying, Coach. I totally understand what you're saying. I do not agree. And if I don't agree with them, I'll just tell them, like, I don't agree with that call, but I do understand what you're saying and why you're saying it. You know, I give them, like, I hear them, but I'm not trying to fight them on it, and I just try to de-escalate. I say, like, hey, I want the kids to play today, so if you're okay with that, I'd like to get back to the game. If you want to discuss this more after the game, we can. Right? Make it about the kids. Get off what the coaches are about. Let the kids having fun, right? And just get back to that situation instead of what the coach is yelling about. And that's how I like to handle that. And then I'm just like, okay, you know, we'll talk post game then, okay, Coach? But I do need you to calm down, you know, like, we do need to keep it cool, you know, we're cool with parents. That's one strategy to do that. So I don't stand face to face, I stand side to side. I confirm that I understand what the coach is saying to me. If you're not sure exactly what to do, tell the coach you will seek clarity after the game. So you could even say, like, Coach, you may be right. I'm going to get clarity in on that after the game, but for now I'm going to call it this way. That's a fine call, right? Move the game along and don't let it rattle you. Things happen to everyone. I can referee 10 games and I don't go smooth and great, 10th one's off. And I've done it for a lot of years, okay? Just how it goes sometimes. You have a bad game, don't let it defeat you. It only defeats you if you stop trying to get better at it and you quit at that moment, right? Come back out, next game, face up to it, do a better game. Make sense? Don't let it defeat you. That's how you develop as a person, right? If you feel unsafe, just blow that whistle, call the game, and move towards the concession stand and get support. For any reason, if you feel like it's getting aggressive, you can even ask their coach to help you. Ask an adult, ask a parent. A parent's coach, I need help right now, this guy's nuts, right? It's not on you to feel like you gotta face it on your own, okay? Get help if we're not immediately available to you, okay? Hopefully it never happens, guys. It hasn't happened that way at that level in a long time. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but we'll see. All right, so we went long, we went a little long, I had a lot of stuff. Hopefully that was good.
Real quick.
Yeah.
You talked a lot about putting yellow cards out and red cards out. How often will you find that in a U10 game? How often will you find that in the U12s? Because if I feel like they're much more
I gave 2
rare.
yellow cards all season last year, and they're both at U14.
Right. So they're much more rare in the U10s. They're a little bit more, but still pretty rare in 12.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, once you get to the U14s, that's when you'll start to see it. Because a U10 is still learning. U12, there's still quite a bit of learning going on. By about U14s, when kids start to actually play a set position and a place, so they are already starting to understand the tricks and trades of the said position.
Yep.
So I want to make sure that any gun or any card carrying kids out there that
Yeah, you should not be on a power trip out there. Your goal should always be to never have to use the card. Only use the card when you need to, and it's only when I say it's dangerous. Like not only, but like dangerous or just completely uncompetitive or ridiculous. Pulling the shirts is stupid and reckless, right? Give the yellow card. So, all right. Well, that's our time. Any other questions?
No.
You guys have been awesome. Thank you. I know it's a ton of stuff. Hopefully it helps, right? Hope you guys more confidence. We'll be out there at the fields. We're happy to answer questions. Okay? So if you got questions,